Hello, people. Welcome back. David Feldman-Makrias here. And what I want to show you guys today is something that is very, very interesting, very, very important if you're running any type of ad or digital ad campaign, specifically paying a platform like Google or Facebook. And it's especially important now because especially with the change from Google Analytics to Google Analytics 4, meaning Universal Analytics or GA3 to GA4. And just over the last couple of years, attribution has been very, very unreliable. And it's getting less reliable as time goes on. So, this is a way to combat this if you are not using a separate attribution software or you're not using something to help combat that. There is a simple report that you can compile no matter what your CMS or content management system is, no matter what your website provider or website platform is. And it's really going to help you not only in your marketing, but from your business analytics. I have things blurred out here. I want to keep everything confidential. So everything just is numbers right now. But I wanted to show you what this actually means, how to use it, and what it can do as far as your marketing and your overall business. So to go through this, it's a basic Excel spreadsheet. I have three color combinations at the top here. I have blue, I have green, and I have red. So what that essentially is in this instance is blue is everything that's taken from the website or the content management system as far as inputs about the business analytics, including all revenue, total orders, average order value, customer information like new customers and returning customers and knowing the difference, and the return rate of those returning customers. So that's blue. Now, green is the actual ad platform itself. So that is, in this case, Google Ads and Bing Ads because it's search marketing in this instance. And then in red is actually calculated business metrics. This is what we use based on the green and blue, or blue and green, columns that how we evaluate performance and is the business scaling properly by adding more money to campaigns. The reason for this is because a lot of other channels have been talking about this too, but the reason for this is because attribution has become a sticky thing. We used to really depend on conversion value over cost, ROAS, all those metrics inside the ad platform, like inside Facebook ads or inside Google ads. But because it's becoming less and less reliable, we need a way to understand, okay, if we spend more money on Google, are we actually getting more bang for the buck? And there's a very, very simple way to calculate that. You can think of it as a total ROAS or a global ROAS. M.E.R, media efficiency ratio, is a way you can calculate that. Shout out to Solutions 8 too, by the way, because they were the one to educate me on this. But I think the way we have it laid out here is very important and very necessary. And I could make more videos about what this data actually means. But basically, you can think of M.E.R is an all cash in over all cash out. Thank you, John Moran. So that's basically just a ratio of saying how much should we spend on paid advertising versus how much revenue are we getting. And this is really applicable to e-commerce specifically because e-commerce is very much where if you increase a paid channel, your results are going to change and things are more trackable. Lead generation, I don't think M.E.R really accounts for lead generation specifically. I don't think it makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of other variables that muddy up the water. And one condition you have to realize with M.E.R is that this is a ratio between paid media spend and revenue, but that doesn't account for all of your organic traffic or non-paid media that brings in revenue to your site. So you can't really look at it as return on ad spend. It's more of a ratio to keep track and benchmark so you know that when you add money to paid media campaigns, you are actually scaling upward in an appropriate way. So what I want to show you in this example is that in these 2 months comparing to September 21st right now. So comparing last month and then the previous year and then a month to date through, it's not really a month to date, but it's September 1st through 18th when this was compiled. showing you the difference, because this account has actually been struggling and we've been putting too much ads or too much ad spend in the actual campaigns and trying to figure out which campaigns are generating more. There's also other market conditions that lead to this. There's more competition in this space, and that's why you'll see some of the results differ from last year. But if we look at last year, we had an 8.74. Again, that is not an 874% return on ad spend, but it's a ratio of how much cash came in versus how much cash went out. So that was an 874, but this year we had a 545. Well, that's lower. That means we're spending more marketing dollars, but not getting more revenue. So things need to be adjusted. Again, we see the same trend here. Oops. We see the same trend here for September. We had a 7.69, but we see a 4.99. So in the actual Google Ads platform, we show a positive return on ad spend anywhere ranging between 275% and 300%. But just because it shows good ROAS doesn't mean that, especially in paid Google Ads, doesn't mean that we couldn't be just stealing traffic that would have came to the site and converted already. So that's why this is important to pay attention to. I'll walk through this in more detail in a later video because it's pretty important, but the way we have it laid out, I think really makes a lot of sense. And you know what? I can just go through it now. So we start with revenue, orders, and average order value because those are really good numbers to know and benchmark anyways. If you've been in e-commerce for any amount of time, those items you should know. Now, total customers and the difference between new customers and return customers are really important because then we can measure things like CAC, or the cost per acquiring a new customer. People also call it CPA, cost per acquisition, but that's more generalized for other uses of marketing. But basically, what are our costs to acquire new customers into our funnel? So we first need to understand how much we paying for paid media, but we also need to understand how many new customers are we getting versus how many returning customers. So just in this instance for August, it looks like our new customer rate is about the same, and our return customer rate is, you know what? Let's look at the actual amount. New customers are 283 over 304. So their new customer rate's about the same, even though there's overall less customers. And then return customer rate is pretty dang close to 158 compared to 166. This is straight out of the CMS. So with this, it shows, okay, we're going after new customers about the same. But again, we're spending a little bit more, not a little bit, a significant amount more. We did in August, about 30% more, and 22% more in September. So that's going to naturally raise our CAC. Our CACs went up a lot, significantly here. So that is something that we're addressing right now within the account. And what this allowed us to discover is that our competition has become a lot more aggressive in pricing. Plus, the market has changed for this product, so we have to adapt. And it's not always the best results, but again, return on ad spend in the native platform, whether Google Ads is showing, oh, look, we have a 300% return, or Facebook really doesn't do that anymore. But if Google shows that, especially with the use of Performance Max in e-commerce, you don't see revenue going up, this is another way to analyze and show that, okay, is our marketing dollars in addition actually making the difference? And we have to know and be able to tell. So when we get into the green, this is just Google Ads revenue, Bing Ads revenue, Google Ads spend, and Bing Ads spend. I don't do anything with conversion lag right now because it's not super applicable. We need to know more information about each campaign, but it's something to be aware of. So again, we went over M.E.R already. We talked about CAC a little bit already. Let me expand these columns so we can see them. And then everything else, this purchase frequency, customer value, these two items actually help calculate an approximate lifetime value of the customer. Again, this is not using analytics software. This is not attribution. This is more back of the napkin or back of the Excel sheet, Google sheet type of deal, but it's still important to know. So again, there's some assumptions here. The lifetime value of the customer is calculated. Well, the customer value is calculated by, it is purchase frequency times average order value. So how often does someone purchase versus like what their average order value is. So then you have a customer value, what one customer is worth in terms of revenue to the business. And then all you do here, we made the assumption. I mean, it's just a standard assumption. This is where it gets back of the Google sheet type of deal, but we made an assumption that it's 3 years for an average customer based on what we saw. And like they'll order one time and they'll order it one time over each year for 3 years. So we multiplied that times 3, and that's approximately what our lifetime value of the customer is worth. Again, an approximation is better than nothing. So we roll with this, and then this is how we calculate, and we do this every month. We do this every month to see, are we trending in the right direction? What do we have to adjust? What do we have to move? So on and so forth to get to a better situation. So that is it. Those are the business calculations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this gave you any value, please like, comment, subscribe. Would very much appreciate it. Keep that algorithm happy. And we will see you in the next one. Looking forward to your comments. I don't know why I just winked, because I've never done that on camera, but oh well. See ya.